We hope you'll stick around. Mr. Sean is here to entertain the crowd. We've got a bit of everything, cause everything's allowed. Chimera Miniatures is here to stay. We hope we make you proud.
Hi everybody, it's me, Sprinkle. Dad said that because I'm such a super good boy, I could announce and introduce today's video. We're going to talk about incels, who are people who apparently don't get any. I don't know what any means, but I assume toughies, which is really sad, because everyone deserves toughies, but apparently these guys don't deserve toughies and are really butthurt about it. Take it away, Dad!
Thank you once again for that amazing introduction, Sprinkle. Hi everybody, I'm Mr. Sean and welcome to Chimera Miniatures. It has been a minute since we have done incel content, but there has been some interest expressed by you, the viewers, so while this isn't going to be a regular thing like it used to be, on occasion, definitely we can cover some. Today we are diving into r/inceltears, which is where normal-esque people, how normal can you really be on Reddit, but normal-esque people, kind of post stuff from incels in order to kind of show the world just how depraved some of these people can be. Just a heads up, I am going to have to censor my language quite a bit to keep up with, the standards of this platform, but, we're gonna, hopefully I can do this in a way that does not ruin monetization. So we're gonna get started with that here in just a moment, but first, we're gonna get all the ads out of the way first, as some of you have stated that you would prefer that to be how we do this, rather than have ads throughout the video. Just have them all right at the beginning, and then, then we can move on. So let's do that. So we're gonna have 3 ads starting in 3, 2, 1. Alright, welcome back everyone, and let's get into this video. First we have an It's Over post. One aspect of Chad's life that is hard to fathom for me. Obviously, aside from the whole getting positive attention from women thing, one aspect of Chad's life that is unfathomable for me is how he doesn't have to imagine scenarios in his head where he is praised by others. I think most of us male losers have a history of coming up with stupid, artistic daydreams where we are recognized by others in a positive way. It could be anything from scoring the winning touchdown in a high school football game, or playing a rock concert at your school, or whatever. Daydreaming is such a common thing for me that I can't even imagine that there are people out there who don't do this in their spare time. Just one more example of how big the gap between us and Chad is. Okay, buddy, I'm gonna be perfectly honest with you. Even the non-losers daydream. Everybody daydreams. Everybody wants to be better than they currently are. I'm hoping you're in high school, considering your daydreams were all high school related. So I really hope that you're not a full-grown adult at this point, because that would be upsetting, though your profile states you are a wizard cell, which would mean that, like me, you're either at the age of or past the age of 30. As I've stated before, people, I was a wizard. I was 30 before I lost my V card. I'm not ashamed to admit that. But so this guy is of a similar age and he's still fantasizing about high school. That's a bit weird. But everybody daydreams. We all have the ability to do that. We all do it. So that's not normal. That's not the difference between you and Chad. But it sounds more like you want to believe that other people don't need to imagine, but everybody needs to imagine. It's a part of humanity. Welcome to the human race. Now start acting like it. And here we have an FML post from a woman who apparently tried to get close to maybe an incel, maybe not. We don't know that for sure, but here it is. Today, I tried to step out of my comfort zone and go out with a guy who's not my usual type. He spent the whole date griping and complaining about how women never go for nice guys like him. When I pointed out we were currently on a date, he said, "I mean hot girls." FML, Yeah, guys, that's a big thing. You hear it a lot from the incels is that, there are unrealistic standards that keep them from ever getting any, as we say to Sprinkle, even though if he doesn't know what any is. But ultimately, they also have standards. They have preferences, and that's perfectly okay. But you have to understand that everybody has preferences, and if you know that you're not the preference of someone you're going after, then you might be doomed to failure. Because people are allowed to be attracted to what they're attracted to, just like you are. So, these people that won't give you a chance, I'm sure there are people out there that would, but they're just not what you're after either. And it's important to, understand that everybody has free will, and including yourself, I guess. I'm rambling. Next up, we have a Black Pill post where he says that, he calls women a certain gardening implement and says that they are unfortunately going to be housewives. I am not as black-pilled as many other posters on the forum, but I have come to the realization that even if the male uprising of the bottom 80% of men happens, which I know it will, there will be a huge majority of 20-plus body count W's that men will have to marry and breed with. It's gonna be great when we end feminism and exile women back to the home and kitchen so that the next generation will be happy, but it also means that men in our generation will be relegated to Chads and Tyrone sloppy seconds, even though we probably caved those bees in the process. The only upside, besides our children not having to suffer, is that the former S-women will probably have to be very obedient and extra submissive, since they will now be shamed for their past by the ruling patriarchy. First of all, bro, that incel uprising you're dreaming of, it's not gonna happen. It just isn't. You seem to be inflating your numbers. It's not 80%. You're like maybe like 10% at most of the population. Probably single digits. Let's just get that clear. But honestly, you don't realize that. Let me err on the side of you here and say that this happens. Like everything you just said happens. You don't understand what a gift you're being given. I mean, you're getting women with a 20 plus body count. She's gonna know what she's doing, and for you who's had to go without your entire life, it's not going to be that awkward first time that a lot of people have, especially when both of them still have their V cards. She is gonna rock your world, albeit unfortunately it seems forced, but dude, if your dream happens, don't look down on someone that knows what she's doing, alright? You're gonna be in for a good time, probably. But again, it ain't gonna happen, thank God, But definitely, guys, do not feel discouraged if your girl, especially if you're losing your V card to her, if she is more experienced than you, because she's gonna know her way around a ding-a-ling, I'm just saying. Alright, this one starts out as a meme comic, and then we have some really, really respectful and classy responses to it. When she's unknown, introvert girl with no male friends that's barely active in social media. It's a double-edged sword. That is the description of the perfect woman, but the fact that they are barely active and hardly ever leave the house makes it nearly impossible to find. It's like trying to find the One Piece in life, but you're Zoro with directions. I was thinking about this too, unless it's a 1 in 1 million chance you bump into her while grocery shopping or something. And then we have the big brain coming in with, no friends equals perfect woman? Yeah, that doesn't sound right, big brain. I mean, I'll be honest, my wife was a bit socially isolated when we first got together, but I made her a promise, basically at the start of the relationship, which was, with me by your side, you're going to have more friends than you know what to do with. And while her friend circle has definitely grown, I can't say that it's grown to be hundreds of friends. For an introvert, she already now does have more friends than she knows what to do with. But yes, people need friends. Not having friends is not a sign of perfection, people, okay? I can't catch a break with these females. I saw this stunning Asian female at Queensboro Plaza early this morning. She had a cute face with great boobies and a round butt that looked great in the black yoga pants she was wearing. I just had to get her number. I called over to her and she seemed interesting. I got her number, texted it, and someone named Jack replied. She gave you a fake number. I keep trying my luck with American females, but I get reminded to stop trying with westernized females every single time. I have my passport, I have the funds, and I have the will. I'm about to get my females from the source in Thailand and Cambodia. This is ridiculous. You bees claim you want a nice guy to take care of you, but reject every advance from kind men. We are officially done. I can't wait to give my passport a good workout. Yeah, something tells me this guy isn't as kind as he claims he is, and saying you're gonna get your females from the source, like, you're going like, I don't want my bottled water, I want to go to the spring myself. It's a weird analogy to make, I'm just saying. Look, if you're mostly attracted to Asian women, that's fine. Again, we've stated everyone is allowed and should have preferences, but, you're just making it creepy, bro. No cap, as the kids say. Hashtag cringe. Next up, we have a post titled, "My mother is an absolute scumbag." My mother is an absolute scumbag. A month ago, I went to the fridge to eat some food. That was back when my sleep schedule was effed and I woke up at 6 p.m. and such. Anyways, I opened the fridge, and my mother, who was supposedly sleeping, jumped out of her bed, came in to ask what I'm doing. I tell her I want to eat. She nods, and so I ask her if I can eat the leftover cheese. It was literally sitting there untouched. She obnoxiously scoffs at me like I'm some effing R, and it rubbed me the wrong way, so I just put it back and told her if I can't eat something to just tell me to my face instead of this childish gesturing. Anyway, she completely freaks out, screams around like an effing R, and then leaves. Of course she can't leave like a normal person. No, she shuts the door as hard as possible. She goes into the toilet and opens the lid as hard as possible, and then craps as loud as possible. She then goes back to bed and keeps screaming how horrible I am and how it's always food that makes me go mad or whatever. This was a month ago. Ever since, my mother has been ignoring me. Any chance she gets to throw me off guard, she does so. For example, I am eating chicken just about now and want to wash my hands because they're all greasy. I always do this, and my mother knows my routine. And what does she do before I can enter the bathroom? She rushes in, closes the door, and takes a crap. So anyways, I wait at my place like an effing R, with greasy hands waiting so I can wash my hands. There's some more, like every time I get up to go to the kitchen, she immediately gets up as well, of course, very angrily, shuts down every door that she encounters as hard as possible, so I can feel her wrath, and then she just F's back off to her bed. She's absolutely obnoxious, and it's no wonder I'm a subhuman having a haggy filth of a mother as her. Why TF did my father ever F her? She's so disgusting. I just had to make this post. I'm currently sitting here, absolutely peed. This is a cycle that keeps repeating. I already contacted Child Protective Services when I was 18 to move out, but they don't take my case seriously at all, telling me I should buy flowers. But I'm not joking. My mother makes my life a living hell whenever I step out of line, and I'm supposed to get her flowers? Bro, you called Child Protective Services when you were 18 to move out? Dude, Child Protective Services, one, you're not a child anymore. And two, if you want to move out, just move out. But, your mom's not going to pay for it. She's probably sick of having you around. And it sounds like she might have some mental illness going on. But you're probably not aware of that because you're only obsessed with yourself. But dude, if your mom makes you miserable, stop living with her. Go live your life. And I'm sorry, does your home only have one sink? Is there not a sink in the kitchen so that you can wash your greasy hands with? It sounds like you might have some issues too, buddy, and I think you need your own space, so you need to get a job, and you need to go move out and get your own place. I'm sorry, that's the only solution to this problem. Your mom sounds like a nightmare, but you're probably also a nightmare. All right, next up, guys, trigger warning on this one. This one does involve people discussing the case of Junko Furuta. And if you're not familiar with Junko's story, reader beware. It's pretty bad. I'm not going to get into the details of it. Just you've been warned. But yeah, this is absolutely awful. So let's go. Feminists use this one story to declare all men are evil and disgusting. And here's what post this guy's responding to. And this post was made by a man, by the way, so it's not even like it was posted by a woman, but it's, even after knowing her story, if men can make such comments against her and get hundreds of likes and support, then for the well-being of society, we should cage such men and take their rights away. And he is, looking at a post made on the incel forums about Junko. And here are the responses to this guy reposting this article, or reposting this post. Her pain was nothing compared to the life of a sub-5 male. I would go through what she went through 1,000 times before ever existing as a balding manlet again. Her life was so easy compared to ours. Again, I'm not going to go into the specifics of her case, but no, her life was not easier. I would be a balding manlet 1,000,000 times over than go through what she went through. Oh goody, more responses. She wouldn't even be dead if she gave an incel a chance. It's not even a real story, which is the best part. So we have one comment stating that if you would just have sex with the guys who aren't getting any sex, you would be alive right now. And another going, this story, it has been documented, there were court cases, this was a real story. No, totally unreal. These guys are mental. And here we have, I'm just going to call it a weird take, but let's read. When a girl gets pregnant, all her friends touch her stomach and say, congrats, but none of them come and touch the man's penis and say, well done. Moral of the story is that hard work is never appreciated. Only the results matter. Look, buddy, because you're not getting any, you might not know this, but it is really easy to get a woman pregnant, to the point where I went and had a surgery to make sure I couldn't do that because I don't want kids, because, birth control can fail. And to be fair, our bodies were made for reproduction. It's just a fact. So, and as a guy, the effort I have to put in for my part in getting a woman pregnant, super easy. But then the following 9 months where a woman grows the baby inside of her, not easy on her at all. It's rough. It's really rough. So no, the reason nobody won, coming up and touching you there would be weird for random people to do, strangers or otherwise, but your contribution was very minimal. She's doing all the hard work, just so you know. Okay, moving on. Did Scandinavian men from the beginning of time not approach women? Obviously not. This is a recent phenomenon. It is due to women telling men for decades to leave them alone in public, not to check them out, the potential of harassment claims, #MeToo implications, getting blasted on social media for being a creep, etc. This is happening, the same thing is happening in Canada. Women are not at the point of approaching men yet here, but I can definitely see them making more of an effort even compared to 2 years ago. The pendulum has flung too far in the other direction, and women can sense it. Wait till harassment for men becomes recognized and they get the equality they didn't want. I mean, who wouldn't want that to be, be that harassment for men to become recognized? It does happen, as I guess nobody is giving these guys any schmegdual attention. They don't realize that there can be unwanted schmegdual attention. Sometimes, and it's not even just, for them, they can probably only imagine it being like a guy harassing a guy, I guess, but it can be a woman, it can be woman on woman, guy on guy, guy on girl, girl on guy. People, if people are giving you attention that you don't want, and you express this and they don't listen, that's harassment. It can happen to anybody. It can happen to Terry Crews, and Terry Crews is made of muscles. It just can happen. Sorry, guys, but I mean, I don't know specifically why they're talking about Scandinavian men, but, I mean, it's nice that people are respecting one another's boundaries, right? Right? I don't know. I'm trying to make logic out of illogicalness here. Moving on. So this next one is a post basically trying to, give another perspective on the idea that men are more realistic in their standards and that women are more critical of body and beauty standards. And this is trying to give a different perspective on that mindset. So here we go. I'm not going to do a funny voice because this person just is trying to give actual advice. As a gay man, I'm going to tell you that is deeply, deeply wrong. To the point where gay men have 40-year-old in-jokes about perfectly healthy men being gay fat, and a cultural problem with body issues. We are notoriously cruel about men who are short or fat. It's very, very common, and the worst of our culture. Lesbians have always been generally cooler about bodies, though I'm sure they have at least some of the same weird biases as the culture at large. Now that I'm thinking about it, that's a pretty explicit place incel arguments fall apart. I mean, I agree with this guy. Guys are always talking about all these unrealistic standards incels are talking about the unrealistic standards that women have when normal society pretty much has, come to agree that men have some very unrealistic beauty standards. I've never heard a woman reject me because of my canthal tilt. I still don't even fully understand what that means. But guys will make up any reason, why a girl she's not a 10, bro. I mean, look at her ankles. She has scrawny little bird ankles, and it's like, you know how often you're going to notice a woman's ankles? Probably not, but guys are very critical of women's bodies. Guys are very critical of guys' bodies. But overall, I mean, it's a woman will date you for your personality. I'm sorry, it's a thing. Like, I physically, stylistically was not the guy people thought my wife was going to fall in love with, but a big part of it was my personality. I'm not unattractive, at least I like to think I'm not, but I like to think I'm like average looking, but I was definitely not the like heavy metal guy that people thought, oh, that's who she's going to end up with. No, she's dating a monkey wearing a Hawaiian shirt, and I'm a crazy nerdy white guy. I'm definitely starting to get a dad bod. I'm trying to fix that, but whatevs. But it's multiple perspectives, right? All right, we haven't had any like really weird ones yet, so this one's weird, and it was tagged on the forum as, "We can't save you after this, bud. You're just cooked." And this one is listed as life fuel for some reason, and titled, "I think my mom effed my S-doll. Dude, I was going in my room and found my doll has been moved, and I was like, WTF? And that's not even the worst part. I smelled like the smell of coom, and it wasn't my coom, because I know what my coom smells like. This coom smelled gross, and I think my mom busted in my room or on my doll because it smells like she busted. I decay what that smells like, but I would imagine it smelling exactly like that. I asked my mom if she busted in my room, and she said no, I just moved your doll. This is sus as F. Why would she move it? I'm gonna clean my doll just in case she busted on it because that coom smell was nasty. It literally smelled like her." Dude, what kind of degenerate ever goes right to, "I think my mom used my S-doll without my permission"? I mean, I know you're a degenerate. Is your mom also a degenerate? Is this a case of nurture over nature? Like, what? Oh, ugh. I don't even know. I don't have words to describe how much ick this gives me, but, moving on. Also, why is the thought of your mom doing that to your S-doll life fuel? Ugh. Alright, here we have one about, from a creepy guy where it's apparently the girl's fault that, he got rejected. So let's begin. "A few years ago, I made the mistake of thinking that a girl was genuinely nice. She was a hot JB waitress," which, if you're unaware, that is referring to her being, underage, and then, bait that lures people to jail. Yeah. So, back to this already cringe story. "She was a hot JB waitress at a fast food place near my dorms, and she was really chatty and friendly. When the place wasn't crowded, she'd chat about my how my day was going, studies, and her dating life. She would ignore me and talk to Chad students when they came in, but I foolishly ignored that and thought I had a chance. Most people can have conversations like that with women often, but I've never done it before. It felt so good. My mood became better, and I was happy and productive for the first time. I couldn't believe that a girl was finally being nice to me, especially a blonde Stacy. And I started going there regularly just to see her. Since I was a repeat customer, she became more flattering and nice, and would sometimes whisper gossip about the other customers, which made me feel more connected to the other people in my university, even though I didn't have friends. She looked a lot like this actress, Madison Riley. Again, guys, just know this is a story about a man getting all of his social validation from an underage girl. Let's continue. So one day she was wearing a really small salmon pink short skirt and I couldn't get my eyes off it. When she came over to talk, I was stuttering and felt really awkward about it. Then she started talking about her ex-boyfriend, and like an R, I started asking her about her S-life and acting flirty. When I said her ex was really lucky and how she'd be great in bed, she suddenly said she had to go and hurried back into the kitchen. She didn't come out again that day. Then the next day when I visited, I saw that the waitress was avoiding me and another waiter got sent to take my order. After I ordered, the manager came up to me. He started saying that I was making the staff uncomfortable and loudly scolded me in front of everyone. When I said that was unfair, he called me a crap. People from my class were there, so they probably heard as well. The manager said I wasn't welcome there anymore if I behaved like this without apologizing, so I should just finish this meal and leave. When the food and coffee came, I packed up the food and spilled the coffee before leaving. I spent all that time with her for nothing. That's what I get for believing that a void can be nice and charming. She betrayed me, and I got publicly shamed and banned from the venue. I knew that she was only being nice because it was her job, but I still let the taste of void affection overpower my good sense. I thought a void could give me a chance despite my looks, and this is what happened. That's why the black pill is so important. It shows us that voids won't give us a chance, and that they hate us even if they act friendly. Never trust a void. Bro, you told an underage girl at her job that you were pretty sure she'd be great in bed. What the F? Oh, hey, look, there were some responses here. Someone responded, "Exactly. A nice girl is just a misinterest jerk waiting to betray you." To which the OP responded, "Very true. Every void I ever loved has betrayed me. Even my teenage crush, Ellen Page, betrayed me. She effed other men, even though she pretends to be into women. I don't believe in love anymore. Voids hate us and abuse us. What's the point in giving them love?" Is he gonna completely ignore the fact that Ellen is now Elliot? Oh, hey, and apparently someone was telling the OP to reach back out to this girl, trauma, to reignite her trauma, and OP's response was, "Are you sure? I know her Facebook, but I think if I added her and tried to talk, she would think it was creepy. Maybe you're right, and I should try to contact her again, but is this the right way?" And another person on the forums responded to this with, "I can probably scope it out. What's her Facebook?" Ugh, gross. But man, you broke the sacred rule of do not bother people with your romantic intentions while they're working. You do not ask someone out at their job. You specifically don't go to an underage girl who is having to be your waitress I bet you're great in bed. No, you don't do that. That's the ick right there. And then it's somehow her fault that you were asked to leave the establishment. I've kicked out people for doing that when I was a manager back in the day. If you're going to harass my employees, you don't get to stay there. You have to go. But again, it's her fault because all Floyds want to betray you. Blah. Alright guys, we got another one from the forum, No Foids Allowed, and buckle your seatbelts, because, well, this one is titled, Started Whacking to Pictures of Money to Escape the Foid Menace. I've begun to only jerk it to photos of cash, specifically $20 bills, as they're of value, although hundreds work as well, but not as much. Photos of a stack of clean and uncirculated money next to a circulated stack are also very nice. I'm not even looking at anime girls either now. My sole focus is on money and the occasional gold bar when engaging in such acts. I even fill my head with thoughts of money. It takes quite a while though, but I assume times will speed up. This could be detrimental as I am a wagey, but I think it also feel like what Chad feels like 24/7, just walking outside and hot sexual objects being handed to him. I believe the pros far outweigh the cons, being I will never be able to fall for any siren calls of women to beta bucks in the future or care for them in the first place. I'm sorry, I think my brain just rotted. It takes you a long time because you're not sexually attracted to money, okay? Like, it's no different than, you know what, I'm not gonna delve into this one any further. I'm done with this guy. This will be my final comment, because I have better things to do than spend all day responding to new posts from lefties losing it. I would just say this: if you think the graveyard hag looks normal, if you think she looks feminine, if you think she looks like an average woman, then I would say this to you. You don't effing know what an average woman looks like? It's actually insulting to average women everywhere. If you're confused about what an average woman is, they don't have male pattern baldness. They don't have wide manly chins and facial bone structure. They don't have manly arms. They don't have manly torsos, etc. I recommend Googling woman, and you'll learn something there. Stop looking online for posts made by developers or game journalists defending her character model changes from the original, because it's clearly defensive content created for this very purpose, to allow you lefties to have some sort of evidence against woke creative choices. Finally, I invite you to take 5 minutes to think about your lives. If you're a woman who thinks Angela is beautiful, why don't you find yourself beautiful? That is the real question, because if you did, you wouldn't consider her beautiful. You consider her beautiful because she thinks she looks at least as good as you. And if you're a man who thinks Angela is beautiful, then, well, I'm sorry, pal. Not every guy can get the girls of their dreams, and you clearly gave up on dreaming and are now in the settling stage of life. Oof. So this person is talking about the remake of Silent Hill 2 and the character of Angela. I don't know, I looked at both. I don't really see a huge difference. Again, she looks fairly average, but okay, be mad, I guess. Alright guys, and now you're not allowed to be into stuff because you find somebody involved with it attractive. Okay, I guess that's, says a lot. People guys aren't allowed to be interested in corn anymore, but here we go. One thing that really triggers me irrationally, well, at least they admitted it, is how Foids are suddenly interested in Formula 1 because of the Chad drivers, where in the past it was seen as something for nerds and losers. Of course Foids ruin it and make it about effing gossip and the drivers' looks. I'm sorry, finding someone involved in some kind of fandom or sport or whatever attractive is a great intro way into the culture. My sister is a huge Star Wars nerd, but for the longest time wanted nothing to do with Star Wars, thought it was boring. But then she, it's like someone told her, hey, Harrison Ford is in that movie wearing really tight pants. She's like, oh, cue it up. And now she's a huge Star Wars nerd. She's even actually a trained swordsman, and one of the things she's trained in is lightsaber dueling. She has a dueling saber, so she's a bigger Star Wars fan than I've ever been, and I love Star Wars. So, and that was all because she wanted to see a young Harrison Ford looking smexy. And you know what? More power to you. Whatever. If you enjoy something, who cares what brought you to it? You know, just enjoy your life. Okay. Think we should do a couple more? Okay, we'll do a couple more. All right. Let's see. What do we got? All right, here we go. There's something really gross about married men who kick down at men who struggle to find a wife. Congrats, you lucked out in our extremely flawed society. What about everyone else? To think that your personal success means society is fine is the epitome of boomer thinking. And this was made as a response to this post by Normie McDonald. The incel doesn't actually care about not having been intimate with a woman. He doesn't even like them. What he cares about is the potential to be seen as lower status by other men because of his lack of intimacy with women. I mean, ultimately that is what it is about. I mean, it's these incels, they might be physically attracted to women. They don't like women. They actually hate them. But again, they're more concerned with that other people are judging them because they are because they are virgins. And yes, there are parts of society that will judge you for that. I mean, when I was walking around, on my way to being a 30-year-old virgin, I wasn't embarrassed by my virginity, but I didn't pronounce it to the world because I know some people can be judgmental. A very select small group of people knew about, that I was, and they didn't judge me for it. But it was something that I didn't let it define who I was, but I also didn't let it define who I was. So it wasn't like I wasn't ashamed of my virginity, but I wasn't proud of it either. It wasn't even something I had. It was an experience I hadn't had yet. And that whenever I was going to have that experience, that was up to me. But honestly, as far as the getting a wife, a married man, no married guys aren't really disparaging unmarried guys, at least not in my experience. I mean, the closest we might get is going, and when someone does something utterly stupid or says something that's completely ignorant, we go, "This is why you're single." Or if they, that's it. I don't know who is, talking to this guy because he's not married. It's also Cardus. It's easy to attack incels, the system-approved target. It's a lot harder to ask the tough questions about why our society has collapsed on marriage and birth rates. I mean, ultimately, no, it's not feasible to afford to be able to raise a child in today's society for most people. Also, marriages end because the world is changing and certain people aren't changing with it, and that leads to conflict and lack of communication. Marriage is more of a partnership than equality than ever, and some people don't like that on either side. So, no, I don't think that's a tough question. It's very easy to answer, honestly. But we have this guy's internet buddy has a reply.
Yes, the system that we're under hates God, and thus hates man and woman. It has many ways of making us miserable, including destroying intimacy and courting. Some of us were lucky enough to buck that system. We should be praying for those who were less fortunate.
Sounds like a humble brag. I don't think any system hates God, but I do think systems hate people that claim to know what God thinks and use that as a way to spread hate. Definitely think that. Feminism is propped up by men. This is a topic on the topic of sex, gender, and dating. I'm not against feminism. I want women to have the rights and opportunities equal to men, but I find it interesting how so many women seem to forget that feminism is totally propped up by men. In other words, if men collectively decide, F this, we're going to rule women again, then women would become second-class citizens overnight. If there was a catastrophe that caused civilization to be turned back 100 or 200 years, and we had to revert to a more primitive form of culture, women would follow us again. It's just silly how so many women act like they're some kind of badass and like to talk trash because they're all confident. But if this were an animal kingdom, they would not be shit. The irony is men don't even do this to each other. Like, just because I might have a better place in the world than another man, I still respect the fact that another man could kick my ass, so I'm mindful of the way I speak to them. This, of course, is not to say all women are disrespectful or overconfident or whatever, but there is a lot of that type out there. And we have a response. The incel is strong with this one. And the response got flagged. Calling another user an incel is considered uncivil and is not allowed. A hold has been placed on your profile. Until you comply with this requirement, any comment you make on r/true unpopular opinion will be automatically removed. Due to a hold on your account, you must acknowledge Rule 4 before you continue commenting. Until then, all comments from you will be removed. To acknowledge Rule 4, please post the following instructions in this post. If you are willing to follow Rule 4 but are unwilling or unable to complete the automated confirmation process, you can also acknowledge Rule 4 by sending us a mod mail. I am a bot, and this action was performed automatically. Please contact the moderators of the subreddit if you have any questions or concerns. I mean, I get it. You gotta be polite on the internet too sometimes, but like, this is so funny because this guy, the OP's post reeks of like your uncle going, "Look, I'm not racist, but," and then proceeds to just say the worst thing you've ever heard. But this is a guy who's like, not saying that men are better than women, and then goes on to say how he believes men are better than women in every way imaginable. And the guy that called him out got flagged, Ain't it a bee, right? Alright. Next we have one titled, Voids can't suffer. Women can't be lonely or depressed. Women can't have autism or social anxiety. F women for pretending to have those conditions. The only thing they have is factitious disorder. They fake mental disorders for clout. I hate women. No woman can truly feel the seemingly endless suffering of mental seldom. I have never seen a woman struggle with anything ever other than being narcissistic, demonic, histrionic degenerates. As someone who has helped their wife deal with their anxiety, I can 100% attest that women can have anxiety. If anything, they have more of a reason to have anxiety than most men. I'll be honest, guys. Being a guy, despite what the incels say, being a guy is easy street, comparatively speaking. And I mean, you know what? I'm glad I have it a little easier, but that just means I have more mental energy to help my wife get through her day. Women 100% can suffer, and often do, no matter what the incels might want you to believe.
If sex isn't important, then go ahead and be celibate for 20 years. Jesus effing Christ. I'm sick of people who have sex often saying, "It's not important, or you will be disappointed." Okay, then stop doing it. Go ahead and stop doing any sexual activities with another human being for 21 years, then come back and tell me if that S isn't important. Then they have the audacity to say, "There's other things better than sex." Okay, and it's irrelevant. They think I only care about the pleasure? No, MFers. I want to be wanted by another human being. Excuse me for wanting to be desired like how you, Steve, Josh, Sarah, and Marcus are. How dare I want to be like the most of the population and have love and sex? It's like these people just do not get, and I can't even blame them. For the most part, I see these people don't have a hard time with finding a partner or having sex. They don't know what it's like to have never even cuddled with someone. They see my obsession with my virginity as weird because to them, sex is a normal everyday thing, something that happens to them easily and isn't hard to obtain. But for me, it's unobtainable fantasy. My only way out is paying for it, but come on, who wants that? I want it to be with someone I love, only set for paying for it because I feel like I have no choice.
Alright, buddy. I hate to say it, but I do agree with you. It's not the lack of physical intimacy. It is, in fact, the idea that you want to be wanted. I agree completely. I wouldn't even say struggling with my virginity, but when I was struggling to find a partner, it was because I didn't click with a lot of people, and I wanted it to be more than just, physical intimacy for the sake of physical intimacy. There were a few times I considered that might be an option, but it just wasn't appealing to me. But the other thing I didn't do was I didn't make all of my conversation, I didn't obsess over my virginity. It just was something, sex was just something I hadn't done yet. And I was going out, I was living my life, and I was trying to meet people I was compatible with until one day I would meet someone that I would be compatible with in a romantic way. And guess what? Eventually it did happen. It was kind of playing the long game, in that it was a low point strategy, but it paid off. It just took time. And maybe if you stopped obsessing over what you haven't done and just start finding other ways to enjoy your life, eventually it'll happen for you, buddy. I believe in you.
The new generation is being born. Meanwhile, I still never felt of a JJ. Realizations like that crush my weak heart. My cousin, brother, and sister all have children now. The people I grew up with are parents, had sex, had love. Meanwhile, I have nothing. Never been held romantically. Never kissed anyone romantically. Never celebrate holidays with anyone. I haven't done anything. Nothing. My friend is thinking of marrying his girlfriend. I can't do it. I can't be his best man if he goes through with it. I can't watch people have love, hear them have sex through walls, hear them talk about this world that is so alien to me. I just can't do it anymore. I'm so tired of being told to focus on myself. No, F you. I want to have sex. I want to have love. I want to experience humanity. Focusing on myself is a load of BS, and these people really need to stop assuming that I'm not doing that already. I'm already on my self-improvement journey. I already want to be better for myself. It's useless advice. So unbelievably useless. Why would I not focus on what my heart yearns for? Self-love has its limits. I need external validation. Sorry, but I'm a effing human. You know what we like? Connection, validation, attention, love, sex. I'm not ashamed to admit that I need a partner. I'm not. I won't truly be confident without a partner, and that's something I'll never consider a problem.
I mean, again, with this guy, you're making some decent points, but, you're going about it wrong. I agree. People would tell me, guys, getting a girlfriend, getting laid, it's not going to solve all your problems. I mean, yes, but my biggest problem right now is that I'm lonely, and I would really like to not be lonely. So while, yeah, I'll still have other problems, dealing with the biggest one will allow me to focus and deal with the other smaller problems that right now aren't as big of a priority. But again, at this point, I was not going up to people and saying, oh my god, hey guys, you know what? Still haven't gotten laid. That's my only update. Nothing else going on in my life. Just totally focused on the finding someone and getting laid. No, that's not what I did. I lived my life, and I get it. It can feel hopeless at times, but stay the course, my dude. If you don't stay the course, you'll never succeed. But if you stay the course, it might take a while, but you will. I believe in you. Alright guys, as fun as this has been, it is time for our final post of the video. This one is from the Incel forums, and it has been tagged as self-unalivement fuel, and it's titled, "You're not an incel, you're single because you're an a-hole." Also, just so you know, this post, every time they have the letters E and R next to each other, they capitalize it as a way of kind of shouting out Elliot Rodger, which if you're watching this video, you probably know all about him. No need to go into that a-hole. Let's continue with this final post. So I tried explaining the black pill to my mom, and she completely misunderstood. She said I wasn't an incel and that I just need to find the right woman. And then immediately turned around and said, maybe you're single because you're a sexist pig and an ass. It's clear that she doesn't understand that her and dad were Chad and Stacy in high school, but both aged like milk and only stay together for finance reasons, which I can safely assume because their looks faded and they got ugly and they argue a lot. My sister also thinks me and my dad are sexist pigs, and terrible people. It's obvious they come from different background. My parents were in high school in the late 90s, and both are NT and were both attractive them. And my sister is also in 8th grade and NT, and obviously I'm nothing like them. Okay guys, first I had to look up what NT stood for, and apparently it means it's short for neurotypical. Where did I look that up? Well, I looked it up on the Incel Glossary, which if you are a member of the channel, I do have a series that I am continuing on with where we cover, where I'm just going down and I'm covering all the terms that incels use from this glossary off the Incel Wiki. So if you would like to join as a channel member for as low as 99 cents a month here on YouTube or $1 a month over on Patreon, you can gain access to those videos, and you can join me on the journey of figuring out what all of these terms mean. But anyway, back to the critique of this post. It's always a hard pill to swallow that the reason for your unhappiness could be your fault. But sometimes, as my father used to say, and still does, he's still around and kicking, when it's everybody else, it's probably you. And this guy, yeah, probably. You're trying to explain the black pill to your mom. You're trying to explain a mentality that all women are awful and your life's never going to get better. And you're trying to explain this to a woman, not just any woman, the woman who gave birth to you and now probably feels like she failed you as a parent, But yeah, if it's all women's fault, it can't be all women. It just can't. Statistically, that can't be true. The problem must lie elsewhere, and usually it's close to the source. And the source is you. The problem is you. That's what I'm saying. The problem is you. All right. That's it. That's our video, guys. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey today. If you like this kind of if you like this kind of content, be sure to comment and make sure to like, be sure to share it around. If this video gets, let's say, if this video gets 1,000 views, then we'll start making these videos more regularly. Yeah. I mean that's really the case. Is if this kind of content gets the views, I'll make more of it. That's really what it boils down to. Again, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for, if you have not subscribed to the channel already, please do so. I post 3 videos a week and a new short every day. So typically how it works is Mondays we have a found media video. Wildcard Wednesday, like today, could be just about anything. And then of course Friday, is my lesser known lost media series that is quite popular. And most days the short is of my good little buddy Sprinkle, again, who was so nice to give me an intro here on the video today. Love Sprinkle. If you want to see Sprinkle, plenty of shorts on the channel of Sprinkle. Go check them out. If you want to help the channel monetarily, please do consider joining the Patreon, becoming a YouTube channel member, or heading over to eBay and Mercari and maybe buying a mini. Again, I do sell minis, some even of the spicy variety. So again, guys, until next time, I'm Mr. Sean. This is Chimera Miniatures, and I sincerely hope that you alpha great day and an even beta tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Welcome to the show, we hope you'll stick around. Mr. Sean is here to entertain the crowd. We've got a bit of everything, 'cause everything's allowed. Chimera Miniatures is here to stay, we hope we make you proud. Welcome to the show, we hope you'll stick around. Mr. Sean is here to entertain the crowd. We got a bit of everything, 'cause everything's allowed. Chimera Miniatures is here to stay, we hope we make you proud.